Okay, welcome everyone. We're sorry for the delay, but here we are. I'm the host for this webinar, The Role of Consciousness in Leadership and Coaching. My name is Karen, and I'll be passing it over soon to the leadership and coaching team, and they'll be running this session today. We want to welcome everyone, and there were a few different channels through which we sent out the notification. Maybe you came here as a prospective student, but we also know that there are some people that have learned transcendental meditation or another meditation technique that just might be interested in the content today. And whatever your reason, we're glad you're here. And we want you to know this is an interactive session. We want you to participate through chat or the Q&A function. So a little bit more on that. But first, just to give you some context, we are representing Marshy International University. The tagline is Home of Consciousness-Based Education. And for us, consciousness has very specific connotations. And so we're going to be explaining coaching and leadership, but within this broad framework of consciousness-based education. So just some practical definitions. The first and foremost meaning of consciousness is our core inner awareness, the essence of our being. And we enliven that through transcendental meditation technique. We also recognize that there are many ways to expand consciousness and develop it. Here, we are all practicing a particular technique that allows the mind to quieten within and to experience a source in consciousness. So that brings us to our next definition of consciousness as a field underlying our mind and our individual experience, something that we can tap into to renew ourselves and to also bring in more creativity and intelligence. So from that basis, this community developed way back in the 80s. We have an interesting origin story, and a group of youngsters in their 20s were very inspired to create a whole educational system that really placed development of consciousness at the core of building curriculum and developing degree programs. So today we're really focused on this aspect of coaching and leadership. And I'm also very interested to hear how development of consciousness expands and supports that field. A few more practical points before we get going. We are a fully accredited nonprofit university. And today we have our Zoom Q&A chat function. If you send in questions that way, then when we answer anything, the answer goes out to everybody. But we also have a chat function. If you want to just send your reactions or answer our questions via the chat, that's also available for you. So just to see if that function is working, we'd love to hear maybe your reasons for coming today and where you're connecting from, so we get a sense of our audience. And then just some practical points that many of our university students receive extensive financial aid. So if that allows you to study with us, don't hesitate to fill out our financial aid calculator, get your estimated award. So this will help you answer a little bit. So today's webinar, maybe one of these topics brought you here. We'd love to know which one in particular, but we'll be covering the relationship between consciousness, leadership, and coaching, but also how awareness of different levels of the mind enhances effectiveness in coaching and leadership. Also some practical points, the role of emotions and intellect in guiding others, and also a practical technique to stay present by recognizing and transforming triggers from the past. So these all sound very juicy to me. So with that, we are ready to meet our panelists. So please turn on your videos. Probably stay muted unless you're speaking so that the video stays focused. And so Professor Michael Zell, go ahead. Do you have that sharing function for your PowerPoint? Here you go. There you go.
Okay, thank you all for joining us, and delighted to have you here and to be with us as we are exploring the concept of consciousness-based education and consciousness as it applies to leadership and coaching. And by the way, just to inform you, we actually used in our programs what we call a flipped classroom model. So we don't lecture. We actually have our students do the talking. We use breakout rooms a lot and have the students do the teaching, do the reading outside, and then really talk together. And it's been an incredibly effective learning approach and teaching approach to have people really be developing their own thoughts because being lectured at is not nearly as effective as if you're doing your own talking and your own thinking. I'm going to share a PowerPoint now. So hold on one second. Okay, so the question is, what is it that gets sort of starting point? What gets in the way of effective leadership and effective coaching? And just put together a few of the things blocks. So I'd like you to just take a look at these and in the chat, why don't you put in a couple that might apply to you? What applies to you that might be blocks to you of being the most effective leader and coach that you might be? So what's in your way of being the most effective leader you can be? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Finding the right words, wanting to fix instead of heal. So many of us we've been trained and we want to fix others rather than this idea that we have, which is that you are going to facilitate people knowing themselves so they can fix themselves. Being afraid to talk, thinking that you're not good enough. These are some of the things that come up that sort of affect us and affect how we become a leader. So how do you become a better leader? What is it? And one of the things that we have learned, and by the way, I've been a student of leadership for a long time, is that it is about increasing your consciousness, enhancing your awareness that makes the most difference. Now, a little bit of big background here. So, in in this world that we live in the Western world, a lot of our focus is on the physical world. You know, you learn about matter. You learn about, building things. You learn about, you know, chemistry and physics, how the world works. Well, there's nobody in that physical world that can explain consciousness, complains a sense of awareness that we have as human beings. So Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, talks about unbounded consciousness, which is the consciousness that exists in everything. But there's something in between us, which is the consciousness that's in our bounded selves, in our bodies. And that relates to the mind. And if you stop and think about it, leadership is really about the mind. It's not about our bodies. It's not about, unity or unlimited consciousness. It's about what we do within our in our minds. So leadership and coaching is primarily in the aspect of the mind. So one of the things that Maharishi has been very, really innovative on is in terms of thinking about education is that the three components of education is you have the knower, which is the learner, you have the process of learning, which is the knowing, then you have the known, which is the subject matter. And one of the issues and problems with most of education, certainly in the Western world, is that we focus on the process of knowing and the subject matter, which is the known, but we don't focus on the knower, on the learner. And one of the most exciting things about our program is that we focus primarily on the knower, knowing the knower. That is, the subject matter of this program, of these programs, is you. And your awareness of yourself and what goes on inside you is absolutely the most critical part of your influencing the world, you making the difference, and you living the most fulfilling, satisfying life that you can live. So in terms of the mind, we can actually break it up into a number of different levels. And by the way, these levels go back thousands of years in terms of our Eastern Indian tradition, and it's called Vedic science. So is that we go from the most concrete, which is the body, to the most abstract, which is ego integration. And all these things are different parts of how what goes on in our mind, our senses, the five senses, and then the emotions that we have that are always flowing through us. Um, then we have the mind, and the mind is the bringing in all this information from our senses, from our body, from our feelings. And then the intellect is a level of sort of discrimination that we do, that we're comparing and contrasting. And this is where our thinking is, and this is where our beliefs are. And then the final feelings, finest feelings are the these are what we also call these the yearnings. These are not coming from our body experience, but from our higher selves. This is the yearning to love, to be loved, to make a difference, to be a part of something bigger. And all those things get at this highest level integrated together into this sense of self. Then one of the reasons I'm going into this now is that um, when we're looking at consciousness, consciousness applies to every one of these areas. And if we're looking at leadership and coaching, that also applies to all these areas. So that if we are not clear on what we're feeling, if we are not looking at what our beliefs are, if we're not looking to what our reactions from the past are that are affecting the present, those are all going to affect our leadership. So to become the best leader and coach, expanding our consciousness, our awareness of ourselves and what's going on inside us is absolutely critical. Just for example, regarding emotions, um, most of us have had various emotions that have been muted or not allowed when we were young. Well, all emotions have a purpose. For example, the emotion of fear is a warning of potential danger. And we want to be aware of fear, and we want to be also looking at what is the present time fear and what is the fear that's stored up from past experiences. Because what we want to do is to be able to be in the present moment with our emotions and to be with what's accurate and what's going on. Um, a comment, in the chat about hesitancy. Well, when we're hesitant, a lot of that is based on anxiety. It's based on how are we going to be seen, how are we going to be felt. So being aware of the emotions that are there so we can look at what is there to be anxious about in the present? What is there to be anxious about in the past that isn't here in the present? Because a lot of times what we're doing is we're responding to things that happened in the past rather than what the situation is right now. Afraid to make mistakes. Um, Same thing. Generally, if we're afraid to make mistakes, it's because in the past we made mistakes and we were criticized or we were hurt or something happened. The consequences were such that we're afraid to do so in the present. When in fact, actually, the research in terms of neuroscience shows that we actually learn much faster and much more by making mistakes than by getting things right. So if we were really looking for what's most important right now, we'd want to go ahead and make mistakes because that's how we're going to learn. So another example is looking at what are our limiting beliefs? So many of us have limiting beliefs like I'm not enough or I'm not good enough or there's something wrong with me. And all those beliefs, which actually came from how we were trying to figure out ourselves in relation to the past, interfered with our ability to look at the present because every one of us is enough. we're all adequate. We're all, perfect reflections of being. So there's just so much to focus on that's right, that's worthwhile here right now, and how am I going to relate to the present? So that's really what we're going to be the value of consciousness and focusing on consciousness. So any questions that you may have in the chat, which would be useful. We have 2 degrees. We have a master's degree in consciousness-based leadership and coaching, and we have a doctorate in education and EDD in transformational leadership and coaching. We have with us 3 students who are in the second year of their EDD, and I would love to hear from them start talking about what your experience is like, uh, increasing your consciousness and the effect it's had on your lives.
Thanks, Dr. Mike. My name's Elizabeth Twazin. We have another Elizabeth here. So, I'm Elizabeth Twazin. Just a tiny intro. I live in the central US. I'm in the Chicago area. I was a really big performer. I guess I do say was. I still perform. But musician, theater artist, and director. And that's one of the ways that I engaged in life before I started took my first coaching program, and I really was really focused out there, like what do other people think of me, about the world, about what I should be doing. And having a program like this that just keeps on asking me, like, well, what is that to you? What is here for you? What is it that you are going after? And it's not just like that we're not just asking each other that question, but really listening to the answer, and not just listening to the answer, but listening to, okay, does that reflect your highest and best, like the highest level of consciousness is available? And there's not like a really clear answer at every moment, but I get little glimpses at different times of like, oh wow, like just today it was getting a reality check about something. It's like, oh, okay, that's I'm okay. I got to have reflected back to me from people who are on the journey with me, like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. And I can kind of relax. And when I do that relaxing, and I'm not so focused on how are people perceiving me or reacting to me or what do they think of me, then I'm more of myself. And I'm pretty much always more in rapport and more effective. So that was completely unrehearsed for whatever that's worth. Yeah, I'll pass the mic. I'm open to any questions later when it's time for that.
Okay, I can go next in between Elizabeth's. I am Nisha Miglani, and recently I just had a realization of being an immigrant and type of like an imposter syndrome. This was something new that I just realized I didn't even know. I came here as a teenager, so I've been here for a very long time. But I was also trying to just, be the leader, and leadership was the performance, the result, the outcome. It's just everything external. And like Dr. Zwell mentioned about the flow of consciousness from an impulse to an action, right? And that's happening at all times, right? So, for example, if I want to, I don't know, I want to learn about Egypt, there's an impulse that come, and then there's this intellect, like, okay, well, I got to find a book, and then it goes to the mind, and mind's like, okay.
And then from that, it goes to the energy, and you go and your hand goes and grabs that book and you look at it and you're going with the flow of life. But let's say, if I'm in a dance floor and everybody's dancing and I want to go dance, and then I'm like, okay, the intellect's like, okay, we got to move. And the thought's like, I'm going to go dance. And then there's this feeling like, oh, well, I'm not a really good dancer, right? And then you block, and then fear, like Dr. Zwell was talking about, is it from now the fear, or is it from some past? Like someone told me when I was, I don't know, in fifth grade, like, oh, how are you dancing? So with consciousness flowing at all times, you are just in the flow. And when those blockages are there, you're just, and this program, and I have done masters in consciousness and human potential. So I've been practicing meditation that's kind of infused with this pure consciousness. But this EdD program has kind of shine light on those aspects of the blockages, and so now I have the strength of consciousness and the understanding of where the blockages are. And that has kind of helped me to realize how life is always flowing. So I have been in as a conscious I was a leader first. Now I would consider a conscious leader, right? As a leadership, in I managed over 10 countries as a president of international operations and growth, and just want to like outcome going, just the performance, everybody. And now I begin to realize that being a conscious leader is more so about just allowing the flow of life. And then it just, even to talk to someone, and then feeling the emotions are so important. Like Mike was talking about, there are different layers of, there's emotions has the shadow and the gift both. And then you kind of like tune into that, and then you play with that. And then even if it's a challenge, you begin to kind of see it, and let the consciousness come in, like, oh, this is what's happening. And you feel it in your body. I mean, I really feel I'm recently, I've felt some more. I'm like, oh my God. And it becomes so real, but it also makes you feel alive, because that's what we're doing, right? So being alive and present and allowing this flow of consciousness is what I think makes one a conscious leader or a coach, and I guess and go with life, feeling fulfilled. Yeah, yeah. And any
Thank you so
questions
much.
later? Yeah, please.
Beautiful. Elizabeth O.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. I am Elizabeth O. Ortiz. I come from a Latino background. My first language was Spanish. So um, the reason I'm sharing that is because I think in the Latin culture that I came from, the way we handled emotions was has been historically different than what it would have been to be someone. I was born in America, but my family to be from here. And so as a child of immigrants, there's a whole set of things that I know that I experienced that was a little bit different. Despite of that, I grew up very religious, and so I always had this push and pull between wanting to do good and truly having this extremely traumatic background. And when I say that, if you've ever heard of the adverse childhood experiences measurement or charts, there's 10 and I was 7. So I was pretty high on there. And so I got really good throughout the years at building this strong identity on the outside, some scaffolding, if you will, putting lipstick on a pig. And not to call myself a pig, but pigs are cute. We love pigs. Um, just that as soon as you touched my wound, everything came crashing down. People were so confused with me because they're like, you're so good at this. but then there's this really dark shadow, and we don't know which Elizabeth we're gonna get. And I say this with no shame today because of this EDD program and the people that have come before me and excavated this program and made it what it is. I'm 37. I had 37, maybe 40 jobs in the last 37 years of my life. And that's because I was really good at getting in the door. I was really good at portraying something. I had the posture. I was eloquent. I looked good. I presented well. But when my emotions took over, it was over. I was a rag doll to my emotions. I had no idea. It couldn't be me. I didn't choose this. It must be everyone else every time. And so this program has been really truly life-changing, and I really get chills when I say this because now I'm able to couple that really strong identity that I could build on the outside or throw it away if I really wanted to. It's my choice, but also understand my emotions, where they came from, the bottomless pit that Dr. Zwolf told us about, that you have this original wound that is never going to get fulfilled. And so, what do you do with that? I've learned to address my emotions, to take my energy and direct it in the direction of life that I want to go, as opposed to, again, being a rag doll to the circumstances, to the pain, to the hurt. And I did MIU, the master's program for leadership, and, TM really started to be the foundation that helped me be consistent. Um, but before that, I had no consistency, but I wouldn't have signed up for the EDD program knowing that it was emotion based. But I am so grateful till this day, like, um, to say that I've joined this program. I was recommended by one of the professors from my master's at MIU, and I'm so grateful because nothing that I know of would have done this for me. I had done years of therapy. I had read books, self-help, meditation, 2 hours. It's so extraneous, so exaggerated, like 2 hours of exercise a day. I'm gonna be vegan. I'm gonna do all this stuff. And none of it really got to the root of what I was experiencing in my life. And I felt so alone. I would close people out. I thought it was everybody's fault that I felt the way that I felt. And I would bleed on people who didn't cut me. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. But this program has been truly life-changing. And I did always want to help. And now I feel that I truly can because I am aware of myself. I'm aware of my emotions. I'm aware where they came from. And even though I'm still growing, I feel hopeful and confident that I can actually be a good leader now. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to emphasize a little bit about what we call emergence coaching, because we actually use students learning to coach others as the vehicle of both their own emergence and the emergence of their clients. So this is a sort of you learn to coach as a co-creative process to help people in becoming themselves, in developing their own potential, moving towards their potential as the coach learns about themselves and doing it also. So it's a very, just a beautiful co-creative process between the coach and the client. So any questions from our attendees that
Yes,
you
feel free to give us prompts and we will adjust according to you. So if you want to have more theory or if you want a little practical application, just let us know if you have a particular angle.
So while we're waiting for that, so we also integrate the science of creative intelligence, which is the underlying sort of theory and Vedic science that goes back 5,000 years from India to which is about the development of consciousness with And that's with what we call the relative self, which is the us within our bodies, and working together so that it's so that we're really truly developing all aspects of ourselves. So do we integrate any other psychology-based techniques? Would any of you like to answer that from your own experience?
Well, I'm not sure if this is I'll answer that one. So we practice and are trained in immersions coaching, which is integrative of several disciplines. Like one of the first things that we got trained in is Adlerian lifestyle analysis. So like from Adlerian psychology. So that, we don't Adlerian, there's Adler University it's a different university. But there's an entire world of Adlerian psychology, and we integrate it into the coaching that we practice. It's not like what our coaching is based on, but it's part of what we're doing because we're looking at, okay, how did a person come to be who they are? And then we take from like the other human emergence technologies from like the humanistic psychology side of things, and we're like, okay, what's toward what or toward whom is this person um emerging? Who is this person becoming? So I know there's more, but that was my first pass.
Yeah, I have a little to add to that. So by the way, both of our programs are International Coaching Federation accredited. So you will actually move towards getting a coaching credential from from both our master's and our EDD program. We don't focus on techniques. We focus on being. We focus on see there are levels of listening, and one level of listening is to focus on, get in the story of your client and help them with that story. But we are going to the level underneath that with this, who is this human being? What are the broad patterns that are affecting how they think, how they feel, how they address the world? And by increasing their awareness of themselves, with that awareness comes choice. Now, there's a phrase that we use, which is that everybody wants to be accurately seen in the here and now with positive regard, consistently and unconditionally. And as we are able to do that as coaches and as leaders, people naturally move towards their own development and their own emergence, moving towards fulfillment and joy. So you will actually study in the program, you study Adlerian psychology, you study Jung, you study Maslow, you study, uh, cognitive psychology. You learn all these things, which is what we say, the way I talk about it is that these are the shoulders on which we stand to build our program. So we are absolutely building on top of a huge bodies of knowledge and wisdom.
All right, Elizabeth, what were you sharing there for everyone? Just
Yeah, I was just sharing some of the psychology one of the visitors had asked, and Carl Jung with the theories, some of the theories that we integrated with shadow work, theory of personality, and individual psychology.
um, all right, just want to make sure that you caught our post there. Maybe we keep it anonymous in terms of the name, but I just want to make sure, Professor Michael, that you caught the.
So what's the practical outcome out of this degree program? What's the job market like? So So we actually began this program at this university for 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But I actually co-founded a university, the Wright Graduate University for the Realization of Human Potential in 2008, and we closed it in 2023 for financial reasons. Um, and we brought the programs over to basically rebuilt them at MIU. So we have a lot of experience of what happens with how people use this. First and foremost is that I can say that people in our programs have come from such a wide variety of occupations. We've had MDs, we've had lawyers, we've had interior designers, we've had consultants, we've had dancers, we've had, just an absolute wide variety. And what I can say is in almost every single profession, the skills that you learn make a huge difference. Because we're actually talking, if you think about it, we're really working people with relationships. Human being, we have evolved as a species for millions of years living in small groups. Children need to be raised by, groups. Um, and the ability to relate to others makes just a huge difference. We had an interior designer who doubled her income with her master's degree, even before she had the degree, because she put it on her resume. And when she was interviewed, she was asked the question, "Tell me about this." And she got the job because how she talked about what she was learning about being a leader. So that's going to apply everywhere. Regarding, we do have faculty who have actually gotten their degree with us. So absolutely it can be, although given the world of academia these days, I can't just say, oh, there are a lot of jobs that are going to be available in the near future. But absolutely, this is a doctoral degree from an accredited university with the best accreditation available. So absolutely, this can move you towards teaching at a university level.
Wanted to respond to one of the folks in the chat mentioned sharing some of their story. And I just wanted to say that in the real world, it feels like our stories are shameful and we show up with that shame. And one of the things that this program has helped me with is just owning all of it. Like there's nothing, so what? Like we went through what we went through, and not to minimize what we've gone through, but we only have the present now and what we do in the future. And it's your life, it's your story, and it's yours to write. And the EDD program has helped me look to the vision of the future and decide who I want to be. Because everybody has a story, truly, everyone has a story, and technically everyone has trauma. Um, and again, it's not to minimize what anybody goes through, but it's your choice. You're not, we don't get to choose what happens to us, but we do get to choose how we respond. And this has helped me to respond to life in the way that I want to create it and not be subjected to what happened to me. Or even subject people that were abusers, right, to their own mistakes because they are also whole and complete, and so are we. So it's just I've been able to expand my mind here to really make a choice on what direction I wanted to go to. And just to give a little bit more to the what you get out of this, I personally I got to the next level as an HR director. And now I'm actually own my own business. Not to suggest that everyone should own their own business, but um, I've 10x my income. And again, that's what you give to this program is what you get out. But it's not, what I did before was scan the room and say, okay, what's available and how do I fit this mold to become that and be able to do that. But now, when I'm authentic to myself and what I want and what I want to give the world, there's this opportunities come that I couldn't have created myself, that I couldn't have pieced together, but I was ready to jump into those opportunities because of the work that I did here. So it isn't like, hey, there's 100 lawyer jobs out there and you'll be able to be a lawyer when you get out. It's more of like you get to become yourself wholly and authentically. And the opportunities, right? We call it the supportive nature of the universe. They come to you when you're ready. And there's a level of trust that you build.
Awesome. We're going over a little because we actually started late, which was me because I was training on the back end and I missed something. So we are going over a little bit. I hope everyone's okay with that. We just got an acknowledgement of thanks. So I echo that. Thank you so much. That was gold. Michael, do you want to respond to this?
Yeah, I respond to Ophelia. By the way, we have a number of teachers. We have grade school teachers, we have preschool teachers, we have school administrators. Because what we're the way we're this it's just so interesting. This is a program about being. With this core belief that we have is that the more you are being yourself, the more influence you have, the more fulfillment you have, and the more ultimately you integrate yourself together in every way. So it's huge. But by the way, one of our faculty is a Montessori consultant, and she actually did her dissertation on the term. She did a workshop for teachers on emotional labor. And emotional labor is the gap between, okay, I'm going into school, I'm going into the classroom, I'm going into the preschool, and I have all these feelings because I had a fight with my spouse, and now I'm supposed to just be there for them, and that gap between what's going on inside me and what I need to be with the students. So there's a huge amount that is there for for teachers. And we have basically I don't know that we have too many high school teachers. We have mostly teachers of younger students, but it applies everywhere.
All right.
I
So
I wanna could I respond to Ophelia too? I just wanted to I'm a fairly new mother, which is not I also am a former teacher. But I'm just getting an entirely new view of the of what I was learning and teaching all along is like that these young people are human beings. And it's not like it's like, oh, of course, they're not robots, they're not aliens. But like giving me the space to pause and sit with like what is happening with me so that I can be with what is happening with them from a more clear and grounded place, rather than I was not this clear or grounded in my first go around in my teaching career. I will tell you that. I just took my I was probably more patient than most people in my family, but I was not um I'm not clear or grounded in myself, really. So I think there's a lot to offer people of any age because it's about not just being myself, but being with people. So that's that's what I wanted to add. Thanks.
yeah, thank you so much. And we will probably have another few minutes at the end, but I just want to make sure we do some practical points for anyone actually considering the next entry. So is that all right? We'll just cut a little bit to the outro piece, and then if there are people staying here with questions, we can have a little bonus at the end. Right. Okay, so we did that part. Our next entry, oops, that's not it. Okay, so the next entry is supposed to be August 2026 for both the MA and the EDD. So it's not February, it's August. And that little arrow is just showing that any web page on our university site has this handy way to just apply very quickly. And this is an option. We live in the university itself is in the southeast corner of Iowa. It's an online program, but some people actually choose to live in this small town and take advantage of the local TM center, the meditation center, and learn advanced techniques. Just another option. But just remember, it is a fully online program. And again, we want to mention that financial aid is available, and more than 90% of our students receive financial aid. And there's a handy financial aid calculator there, which will give you an accurate estimate. So there will be upcoming webinars if you want to attend and learn other topics related to consciousness. There's also a visitor's day. You could come on November 8th and just get a sense for the campus and the culture, or you can request a meeting with the professor. This is just a practical way to get going with preparing for studies. So tm.org stands for Transcendental Meditation. So just let us know, does anybody here practice transcendental meditation already? So there are a lot of different meditation techniques. This particular one, the specialty is it's a sound-based technique, but it's about directing the mind to internally go within and experience subtler levels of thinking and ultimately being, pure consciousness. And that meditative state is that grounded state of being from which we're able to have more awareness. And it's also a handy way to purify the system of stresses. From that basis, this is where that coaching and leadership becomes extra effective. So the practical point about this is once you get accepted as a student, you can learn this technique for free at any TM center. And we recommend learning it ahead of time just to get that basis. But it's also okay if you start classes and then you have about a month, maybe 6 weeks to learn the technique. And then if you wanted to grab this QR code, it's just goes to our replay page, and you'll see all these other themes that we've brought out, and we try to be relevant towards anyone. So even if we have a little degree program that's connected with our interactive webinars, we still try to give a presentation that anybody could benefit from. So those are the practical points. So again, remember the next entry is August 2026. All right, so did you have any wrap-up points you'd like to make, or does anyone here have questions for the team?
Well, a wrap-up point that I'll make is that one of the most fulfilling things about this for me is that almost every student would say that this program has changed their lives. And that it has, in the course of, this is our third year of the program at MIU, and we have just rapid a huge growth and great success. And we could have had almost any of our students in replacing these three who I love and adore all of them, but any would have done the same things, would have said the same kind of things. So yeah, I would love to have you join us and get the benefit for yourself.
That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you to those who hung in there, even though it took us a little bit to get going. And thank you for those final points. Great. Yes, keep in touch. And thank you to our panelists, students, for giving us your time on a Saturday.
So thank you. And thank you all for joining us.
Right.